I'm Greg Braxton with the Los Angeles Times TV department, and we have a very special edition today talking about television, and we're really excited because we have one of the top performers from one of the most popular shows on television. As anyone who follows The Walking Dead knows, it's more than just a show about zombies and gore and blood. It is a show that is masterful in its direction, in its writing, in its acting, and particularly in its performances. One of those standout performances is delivered by my special guest today, Melissa McBride, who plays Carol on the show, and I couldn't be more honored and pleased to be with you today.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
It's such a, I wore my blood red shirt.
I see that.
In honor of you. So, how are you doing?
Today, right now?
Yes,
Seriously,
right
now?
today.
I'm doing okay. I
You're
feel like
doing
I
all
just
right.
need to shake it out and breathe.
Yeah,
but
just
I'm
shake it
doing
out.
okay. It's been
We're
a good
all
day.
still traumatized by the finale, so
So am I.
You're still really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
totally. I think I said it felt like reading the script for the finale felt like falling into a black hole.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it just cuts to black and then
It
you hear the
just cuts
crunch
to
and
black.
it's like, ugh.
So
no.
it's as traumatic for you as it is for us.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't know.
Well, we'll get to that later. We're going to get Melissa
question
to
of the day.
reveal all.
I
but-
don't know.
But before we get into kind of the specifics of what's going on right now, I want to just sort of generally ask you, when you've been with this series from the beginning, what were your expectations about this show, what it was, and how does that measure up to what it has become?
Oh gosh, I never would have seen any of this coming. When I first got the call that they, were considering me for one of the roles, I went to the bookstore and got the comic book. I hadn't heard of this before, and so I went in and, there was a whole wall dedicated to The Walking Dead, and it had actually been a very long time since I was ever in a comic section. So I was thinking, oh, this is going to be fun. And I, opened it up, and there's like jugulars and stuff, and I was like, oh dear, okay, well, this will be fun, okay. But and everybody said we did know that we were working on something special back in season 1, and I came in on the 3rd episode, and there's so much camaraderie that has not changed at all. In fact, it just gets stronger and stronger through the years, but to think that it has gone from, we'll do 6 episodes and see what happens, to doing 16 episodes going into the 7th season is just, it just blows my mind to think about it.
Are you overwhelmed by the attention and the mania that surrounds this series?
Yeah, overwhelmed is a really good word to describe that. It's overwhelming. It's something that I'm just, not accustomed to in my life, before The Walking Dead. So, just the notoriety or in getting recognized, it's overwhelming. It's awesome, in the big picture. It's a wonderful feeling, but then it's overwhelming. It's like, I was just talking to someone today earlier about feeling like it's been plopped into my body sometimes, you go to the store and you get selfie with people, not just me taking
Right.
other people selfie. But and then driving home going, what just happened? That's just so weird.
What do you think that's about? What do you think it is that has people so crazy about this?
About the show?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's it's like a number of different things. People relating to the characters, people relating to the vulnerabilities of the characters, people, substituting anything, for what the struggle, what we have with the walkers, and just the horrible things that people are doing to each other at this point in the apocalypse. How do you survive? How do you come to terms with all that stuff? Yeah.
In terms of the story, I mean, it's a fascinating story anyway, seeing how people are dealing with this horrible situation. But Carol, I think, has just had one of the most fascinating story arcs of the series, judging from where she was at the beginning to where she is now. Can you talk a little about that and
Yeah,
how?
you know, when we first met her, she was just so downtrodden and beat down by this, husband. So by that, she's had a long way to come. And it's just been so fulfilling and wonderful. And I truly do love this character. And I think everybody on everybody in our cast loves the character that they play in a very personal way.
Right.
But just watching her change throughout the seasons and just the crazy material that, has been written for her and the situation she's found herself in, to be able to, find the courage to do so many things. Just to speak up was so difficult for her back in season 1, and then now she's just fighting.
She's
so
doing
hard.
a lot more than speaking up.
Yes. She's blowing up.
She's blowing.
Yes.
And Carol has had some of the most wrenching storylines of the series, losing her daughter and watching her daughter turn, having to actually kill a child who was proving to be a problem, and had to be dispatched, and Carol took that on, and looking at where she is now. What is that like as an actress to have to go to continually to these dark places?
I do that anyway. I just do that on my time off.
You just
I go there.
and see what you're doing now, smiling at her. We never see Carol smile on this show, and it's just a whole. But she's going through.
Smiles sometimes.
She smiles sometimes, but
Smile,
not a whole
Carol.
lot. But we don't see a whole lot of likeness, and like I said, she has to go through such horrible stuff. So what is that like?
Honestly, when I prepare at all for something that I know that's coming up with her that day or in the week of shooting, I just think mostly and focus mostly on where she's at this time in the present. And then whatever emotions are going to take her, whatever emotions are taking her through that scene, I just let happen when the camera rolls. Because I don't want to linger in that darkness too long. And it's just so self-evident, I just let the scenes play out.
Just let the scenes out.
The scenes play out.
Up to this season, and what your character went through this season, what's been the most challenging aspect of portraying Carol?
The most challenging aspect of portraying Carol, I think now this season, I think, is the duality. It's a great challenge. I think it's just the duality, her own personal struggle and going in and out of having to fight, and then wanting so badly to just, grasp normalcy and just slough off that, the blood and the stuff that they have to do, and see the grisly stuff that they have to do and see every day.
And for a show that's so heavy and just so dark, I've been to the set a couple of times, and there just seems to be so much, as you describe it, camaraderie and affection among the cast members, and everyone just seems to really love and relate to each other. What is life on the set like?
Life on the set is like that. It's like a very happy, healthy family, and the crew is, I cannot say enough about our crew in Atlanta. They are the hardest working crew, and just there from, the first thing in the morning to the last in the evening, and there's just so much levity and we're all in this together, and it's just like, we shoot out in the countryside, and going back to being overwhelmed by the success of the show and stuff, we're just back there shooting and shooting and shooting and working and doing our thing, and then to come out like to come out here or go anywhere and realize that there are fans everywhere who know this show. It's like they know me, but I don't know them.
Right.
I don't feel like I've had a proper introduction. How do they know, what we've been doing? It's because they've been watching.
And part of it,
yeah.
I guess, is that when you work, you're so far away from everything,
Yeah.
and you're not around any distractions. You're not,
No, it's,
we're
we're just
not,
surrounded by trees and
you're just surrounded by
country roads
by
and horses
beautiful
and- yeah.
settings and all of that, and all of that. So it just seems like. So when you do see the fanaticism that people have towards the show, like what is Comic-Con like for you?
It's the same thing. It's overwhelming, and that's where the reality just kind of we're bombarded with the reality of and the scope of how big the show is. Because we are isolated, and then we come out to like a San Diego Comic-Con, and it's just hordes of people, and it's just wow.
How is Melissa like Carol?
Yes.
And I hope that's not a cliche.
No, no. I think, gosh, I think I relate to her in a way that a lot of women relate to her. Of course, I think we're both extremely sensitive to other people. Oh gosh, and just in very personal ways. It took years for me to find my own personal courage. To learn to speak up for myself, for instance. And I think I'm a fighter. I think when I have something to do, I really try to do my best, especially when it's, for someone else. I'm a procrastinator when it comes to myself, but if it's somebody else, I'm like on it. Yeah. I think there's quite a bit, actually.
Wanting to get to some of the things that happened to you this season, and looking forward. For instance, your character is pretty broken right now. She seems to have lost her way. What is your dream for Carol for the upcoming season?
My dream for Carol. I don't know. I think first of all, for her to to get physically well and recuperate, and then to get find a place of mental balance. I think she's just so worn out with the killing, and carrying all of that with her and keeping it to herself, and not wanting to be a burden on other people. That are basically going through the same thing. We're all doing the same thing. We all just react to it differently.
But everyone knew when Carol left and just said her abrupt goodbyes that, people were going to come after her. People were she is so beloved by everyone, including Daryl, which we'll get into the whole Daryl thing in a minute, but it just seemed like she's so broken, but yet this is her new family, and to go off on her own just seemed like such a...
I think that was the only way she knew that she was going to get away, was
Yeah.
to sneak off in the middle of the night. She would be a puddle if, she went and said, look, I'm going to leave. No, she would have been a puddle. She had to sneak away.
Yeah.
And this is serious for her. I think it is life and death for her. It's like, I can't even, when I think about her, or any of these characters, but right now I'm talking about Carol, is just how, it's when I think of what she's done, when I think of really, and we approach this for real, having to do something so completely unheard of, something that goes completely against the grain of being human and having any humanity at all, and to sleep with to sleep with yourself at night and think about all the things that you've done, and the hardest things is to put putting a bullet in a child's head because there's no alternative to help this child to get better. And this child's a threat to our band of people. I can't even imagine trying to wrap my head around it and realize this is what I've done, this is how we survive now. That I understand why she left. And she is, broken is a big word for me. I feel like, and lost is a big word. I think she's very conscious of what she's doing and what she wants. But I think her mind will change. I hope her mind will change. And what I hope to see for her is a good mental balance in a way that, I mean, there's no getting out of this world unless it just comes to a, there's a cure and then it then you have the world after that, like
Right.
taking everything I've ever done horrible that I could be, spending years in prison for, or, the death penalty, and then trying to assimilate back into a normal life.
Absolutely.
I don't know. But I would hope for some kind of balance within the world that they're in, that she can find happiness.
In a little bit of the lighter side, Carol and Daryl. That is an obsession with a lot of.
It is.
Yeah. What do you think? The chemistry there. There's definitely some kind of romantic chemistry.
There's no denying that there is chemistry there. I
Is it
love
romantic?
Norman. I can't say because the writers haven't given this to us. They are peers. I can say that. They're peers, and they have an amazing, wonderful relationship bond, how they identify with one another, the room that they give one another, and just the kind of side-by-side journey that they're going on, each in their own little realm, is kind of a mirror reflection right now. And it's going to be interesting in season 7 to see how these characters, alone deal with the situations that they're in. But, as far as what is the relationship, it's just Daryl and Carol. I can't tell you, it has not been written. And we just, I love working with Norman, and there's chemistry there.
It's electric.
And the scenes are fun. He's fun to work with. And those two characters, I adore them. I adore them for the past. I adore them for, how they've come together and walked this apocalypse together. And it's just there's a sweetness there that's undeniable.
And Carol really helped improve Daryl, really helped him discover his own humanity and get
I think
away.
it goes both ways, and I think, everybody in this group has helped each other. We bounce off of each other in this group, and situations that arise out of each other's, desires and stories and struggles is, always forming and changing the other characters around them.
One of the things that's always fascinated me is that obviously there's such affection for The Walking Dead, and the performances and everything I just think is, you can't find more masterful television than on this show, but yet it hasn't gotten a lot of awards consideration love. There isn't a whole lot of the recognition that other shows have gotten, which I find really troubling, which I don't understand why, and I wanted to get your.
Well, you probably know much more about that than I do, because you delve into this industry so much. I'm just on the other side of the camera and doing that. But
right.
But to your point, I know what you're saying, and I don't know. We think maybe because there truly is amazing performances on this show. And it's not, we can't reiterate enough to new viewers, because the people who watch our show, the fandom, understand this is much more than than a show about zombies.
Right.
Yeah. So, and maybe it is, just that. I don't know. They just can't get beyond the blood factor, or The Walking Dead, or I don't know. I don't know, but I do think and do know that it deserves a closer look as far as
It definitely
anybody
deserves
considering.
more recognition, I think, than
I mean, these performances just blow me away. Yeah, and as good as anything I've ever seen.
yeah. What about the gore factor for
What about
you?
it?
How do you like dealing with all this blood and guts and all of that? And
I don't mind it, and it's kind of exciting just to, when just seeing the process of making a television show, and it really is. We do an episode in 8 days, and it does feel like it feels like we're shooting a feature film, and talk about masterful creation. The crew here is just so phenomenal at every level, every department, and I forgot what we were talking about. Where was I going with this? What was your question?
the gore.
Yeah, so the gore. So the process of watching how a television show is made, that's kind of exciting to me. Just seeing how the special effects, they rig things up, even, the explosions, all that stuff going on. It's fascinating to see how these people bring it together. They're just like, just even the set decorations. We have these beautiful sets and they pop these buildings up. Like, I can't even get like shelves in my closet, right? I took them all out because I hated the rack or whatever. And it's still, 5 years later, I don't have shelves in my closet. And they're like putting up Hilltop, and like, I'm like, God, how do they do that? And the set designers come in overnight. They're like ninjas. But these people are phenomenal. But I like the process of seeing how these things are made. It's just, the gore is fun. The explosions are fun. Yeah.
And you mentioned before about blowing up, and it seems like Carol has become probably one of the most unlikeliest action figures.
That's what I love about her, because she's so unlikely.
Yeah.
She's just Carol.
Yeah. So what is it like just to be this warrior, this
Well, it is. It's fun. For me,
dynamo?
the actor, sorry. For me, the actor, it's just really fun. For Carol, it's, it's do or die. And I don't know. But what I love so much about her is that she is so unlikely. That's what's so endearing to me about the stuff that she's had to do. She's not Rambo to me. She's not badass to me. She's just Carol trying to do something to save. She's clever. I think she's always had to be clever.
Is it fun doing those scenes?
It's so much fun. Yeah.
Does it bring out a little bit of the aggression that you might feel? And not that I'm sure you have a very
What are you
relaxed
saying?
life, but does it help release some pressure or tension or whatever?
No, that's just fun to play. What does help to relieve any tension or pressure that is there during our shooting days is just the wonderful people that I'm surrounded with some of the most incredible senses of humor. It's just fun.
So,
Joy.
what was we talked about you being traumatized during the finale. I mean, what was your reaction when you saw not only what was happening with Carol, because it was pretty awful, but what was happening with
She broke my heart. Yeah, Carol was breaking my heart.
Carol was breaking your heart.
Everybody in that episode was breaking my heart. My God, the faces on everybody when they were on their knees. It's such a testament to the cast that I am just privileged to work with. And I was there the evening that they were shooting that scene. And Jeffrey Dean Morgan was, doing this like 10-minute monologue over and over and over from all the different angles, and it was cold, and the camera was on him, and our guys, Rick and Abraham and Eugene and Maggie and Glenn and Carl and Rosita, and they were all there, full performance, and it's like that all the time. It's like that all the time.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's great. We have some questions that people are asking about Victor on Twitter wants to know what TV shows you watch in your free time besides The Walking Dead.
Oh gosh, I have a lot of catching up to do too. I like, I love Game of Thrones and Orange is the New Black. Those are always the ones I look forward to. There's a lot of stuff I want to see. There's a lot of new stuff that I want to catch up on, and so much more, with the Hulu, with Amazon, and everybody doing their own production. You tell me what I should be watching. What should I be watching besides The Walking Dead and those that I
Walking Dead
like?
is.
And I love biopics, and I love documentaries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The lightness of the set, and I went to an event the other day where Norman was talking about pranks that he pulls on Andrew and vice versa. Are you a prankster on the set, or what's the
No,
best?
I'm just the observer.
You're just the observer. What's the best prank that you've seen done on that set?
I do think it was the time that I believe it was Norman put chickens in Andy Lincoln's dressing room in his trailer.
Oh God, chickens?
Yeah, there was a restaurant up the street. This little country restaurant up the street from where we shoot, and they had some chickens. Yeah.
Wow.
Somebody was pulling some strings. That was a good one, I gotta say. That was a little complicated.
Lisa on Twitter wants to know which of Carol's character traits do you admire the most?
Gosh, I was going to say her loyalty, although I don't doubt her loyalty at all. I just think that the struggle is so very difficult for her. But I do think just in the face of everything, she still continues. And that's why I want her to. I admire that. I admire that in anyone. That, no matter how deeply they're struggling, they're still taking another step every day, And that's why I want her to get better in season 7. We'll see.
So after being in this very intense character, how do you unwind after a day of work?
No, you're so drunk. I'm drunk right now. No, I like quiet. I feel like my head is just always going, and then, have Carol in my head going. I just I like quiet. I like music that doesn't have lyrics, or I'll play the piano, even though I can't play the piano, but I like to play the piano.
Really?
Yeah. But I play it. I can't replay it. I just like to sit there and play, and I like quiet. And I have a beautiful, lovely basset hound that I just adore. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
He makes everything.
Anna on Twitter wants to know if you could meet Carol in real life, what advice would you give her? And
what advice would I give her?
And what would you ask her?
Oh, wow.
And what advice would you give her?
Gosh, I don't think I could give her any advice. I don't know. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a hard one. I don't know that I would give her advice. I would just give her a big hug. That's what I would do, and I would just give her a hug. Just hold her face. Carol, Carol, you did so good. You did your best. Ugh.
If you could go to the writers, I guess, and say, okay, really, I need you to do this for me, or this has to happen, or Daryl and I have to get, or Morgan, or I have to get something going on this season. What would be your top wish?
What do you do romantically? What are you
Or
talking
romantic,
about? What?
or anything, just having just
If
something.
I went to the writers and said, I got to get something going on.
Well,
Here's what I want to happen.
or just anything, just can we just get Carol to wear something, or do something?
Well,
like
you know, at the end of the finale, we see this guy in a horse, in
Right.
this armor. How
Right.
surreal that was. You know, I never looked up when we were shooting that scene. I never looked up. I was laying on the ground and I
Yeah.
never looked up, and then we were done, and I sat up and I see this guy on a horse with his armor. I'm like, that is so weird. That is so weird.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It'd be kind of fun to horseback ride.
Horse.
Yeah,
Oh, that'd be cool.
that'd be fun. Have a horse pet.
Have,
Dear Walking Dead writers, please give Carol a horse pet so
Give
she
her a
can
horse.
smile.
or a dog, or something like that. Just something
Yeah.
to take care of. I can't tell you how great it was to talk to you, and
Thank you.
how much I enjoy the show, and your performance. I just is a standout every week, and I
I
look
appreciate
forward
that.
to
I
seeing more.
enjoy it every week. Thank you.
And for more on this show and other TV, please stay tuned to latimes.com, and thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you.